Prince Harry emerged victorious over a U.S. think tank's attempt to release his visa records, but the organization has vowed to challenge the outcome. Prince Harry received some good news yesterday after U.S. officials rejected a request to make his visa file public after questions were raised over whether he lied on the document about his past drug use. But the conservative think tank who brought the case before a judge has lashed out at the Department of Homeland Security's refusal to release the Duke's immigration files. The organization's lawyer said they would continue to fight the outcome. Heritage Foundation went to court last week to try and force the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, to speed up its response to the Freedom of Information Act request about the Duke of Sussex's private immigration documents. They claim it is in the public interest to know if Harry correctly detailed his past drug use, after he admitted to using cocaine, marijuana, and magic mushrooms in his memoir, Spare. U.S. visa applications can be denied over drug taking, although it is not a hard and fast rule. Judge Carl Nichols refused to issue an injunction and gave the U.S. government 1 week to respond to the think tank on whether it would release the files. Yesterday, the DHS rejected the demands. Its senior director Jimmy Walfrey wrote in a letter, "To the extent records exist, this office does not find a public interest in disclosure sufficient to override the subject's privacy interests." It prompted an angry response from the Heritage Foundation, with the group's lawyer Samuel Dewey telling the New York Post it shows an appalling lack of transparency by the Biden administration. The Department of Homeland Security's efforts to stonewall the Heritage Foundation's Freedom of Information request are unacceptable, and we will be contesting their position, he added. We expected to have to fight every step of this case in federal court and will continue to press for transparency and Niall Gardner, director of the Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom at the Heritage Foundation, also hit out at the decision. He said, "This argument makes no sense, but is not surprising coming from the zero-transparency Biden administration. The Department of Homeland Security's efforts to stonewall the Heritage Foundation's Freedom of Information request are unacceptable, and we will be contesting their position." Mike Howell, director of the Heritage Foundation's Oversight Project, filed a Freedom of Information Act request to DHS citing that this was to ensure that American laws are being applied fairly.